Anthony Albanese has delivered the opposition's budget reply, broadly pledging to improve aged care. Let's go to Jonathan Lee in Canberra. Jonathan, the government has accused Labor of a small target approach. Has anything changed?
Pete, that certainly hasn't changed, and for good reason. Anthony Albanese continued that small target approach last night. There were a number of broad brushstrokes, motherhood statements, other people would describe them as. I'll give you an idea. The opposition leader saying he won't go missing, he'll show up, he will increase defence spending, he'll roll out veterans hubs, establish a disaster ready fund, and be a government that looks forward and plans ahead. There's a bit more meat on the bone when it looks at his aged care agenda, as you can see on the screen here. It's a $2.5 billion pledge, but it's not costed yet. It would include 24-hour, 7-day-a-week nurses on duty in every home, more face-to-face time with staff, developing guidelines for minimum nutritional standards, and also backing the call for better pay at the Fair Work Commission and funding the outcome. But while the opposition leader might talk up better pay, it isn't something he can guarantee.
Our plan: registered nurses on site 24/7, more carers with more time to care, a pay rise for aged care workers, better food for residents, and dollars going to care. That's how a Labor government will solve the crisis in aged care.
Now, Mark Latham is the former Labor leader. He's obviously been ostracised from the party after many years ago, but he questioned last night on Sky how the Labor Party would increase productivity.
I don't think they had a productivity policy at the last election. It was all higher taxes under Chris Bowen, and there's still no productivity policy. I think this is something that Albanese will need to explain in the election campaign. You can't have higher wages without productivity gains, and I can see nothing in their policies that point in that direction. So it's an empty platitude, but for working people it's fundamentally important to try and get it right.
Meanwhile, Jonathan, when will the election commence?
Well, Pete, the Prime Minister has made it clear it won't be called this weekend. It's looking like it might be called early next week. There's a lot of people moving behind the scenes to make sure everything has been ticked off and signed off with government departments. So we're certainly gearing towards that election at the moment. And what the Prime Minister is also trying to do in all of his media statements is draw a comparison with experience.
At a time when we're facing some of the biggest challenges we've faced in national security terms and on economic security around the world and in our region, it's a clear choice. This election is a choice. It's not a referendum. It's a choice, and choices have consequences. It's not like deciding, who should be voted off the island on Survivor or something like that. It's not a reality television show. Australians understand the significance and importance of elections.
And Peter, of course, the great challenge for the coalition or the government at the moment is being behind on the polls. There's not just a number of marginal seats they need to sandbag, there is also an expectation that they will need to win a number of seats. So they're certainly going to be busy when that polling or the election commences, Pete.